Hello, my name is Rob Oito, running for Mayor of Athabasca. This is my second time, and hopefully this time I will be successful. I want to talk a bit about yesterday. I went around, introduced myself to some of the business people here downtown in Athabasca. For the most part, the interactions were fairly positive. Some of it was neutral. One in particular was negative, and I can understand, I guess. You know, the person said that they were born and raised here and didn't like the fact that I was critical of some of the aspects of this community. And like I said, you know, we have some good facilities here, but they're not great facilities. And that I think what happens a lot of times is that when you live in a community, sometimes you kind of walk around with blinders on, and you don't really have a look at the community, maybe as an outsider, and that you get used to walking by things that you just accept as being acceptable, and I have to say that running for mayor, I've taken I've never wore rose-colored glasses, but basically I think people need to take their rose-colored glasses off and really have a look at their community. You know, we do have some good facilities. For example, the waterfront here. The unfortunate thing is, you look at the stage here, it's what, 2 years, maybe 3 years that it's been out of service. And I guess that's become acceptable. And to try and attract people to the community, and you know, when you see something like that, that's kind of a negative. You know, it's in my opinion, it's not acceptable. You know, you look at Muskeg Creek trails. They lost the bridges on there, so the trail's not right up to snuff, and you know, that can be improved. It was a good trail built by volunteers, and there's potential for it to become a great trail system. When you're coming into town, you know, just prior to the CIBC Bank, there's some old houses on the street. One of them was derelict for a few years and finally got tore down. There's another one there that the property is kind of looking abandoned, and again, that's not acceptable. And how do you encourage people to come to your community when you get a stage on the riverfront that's not repaired? You got houses on your main street that's abandoned and looking terrible. Across from the post office, there's a building there. I was sitting outside of Patty Mellon's yesterday having a coffee with a friend, and looking at the building. It's looking in disrepair. The windows broken, and a big piece of plywood is put there, and that's so. Now, even though I may be critical of some of these things, I don't criticize without having a solution, and I think there's real potential here to address some of these shortfalls, because the important thing to consider here is that, for example, Athabasca University got an issue where the president doesn't want to live here in Athabasca. Well, ask yourself, like, if you're moving to a community that has derelict houses on its main street, a building across from the post office with busted windows, stage down on the river that's can't be used because it's unsafe. You know, your Muskeg Creek trails, unfortunately, has come into disrepair with, you know, the bridges being gone. It's pretty hard to try to attract professionals or individuals to relocate here to a community that, you know, when you look at it, it looks like nobody really cares, and they're accepting of those things. So I do care. It may sound like I'm being negative and critical, but like I said, I'm not looking at things with rose-colored glasses on. The riverfront here, the stage here, you know, when it went bad, there there was a number of people, contractors in town here, that said they could come down here and fix this. We have Lincoln County that in the past has provided services to the community. There's a lot of contractors here that have the experience of working with things like this that can repair that. The Muskeg Creek trails. This spring, I posted on Facebook page that it's easy to fix those bridges. We did that on the Peace River Trail. We did bridges there. And Lionel stopped by the one day and talked to me afterwards, told me of the ridiculous price that was being asked for to repair those bridges. And I told him that, we could do that for a quarter of the cost of that. Again, you've got contractors in this area here that work with that stuff all the time and can easily do that. And one of the things that Lionel mentioned was that when they first built the trail, that they put sweat equity into building that trail so that people had a sense of ownership. And that's the one thing that I think is missing a lot. People, we talk about, we donated money to the multiplex and we donated money to that. Well, it's easy to open up your wallet and donate money, but it takes a little bit of effort to actually put in some sweat equity into projects and that. So there's that potential. Like I said, the stage here on the riverfront, that should be fixed. Muskeg Creek trails, that can be fixed easily with the community being involved. We got that building across from the post office that I mentioned. Why couldn't that be fixed up and turned into a building utilized by artists? Those derelict houses on the main street, there should be something done with that. My thing is developing a downtown theme, and what I would suggest is the era when Billy Ludet was alive and did his run. You pick that theme for the downtown core. You're promoting your history, and that there's the Athabasca River Bridge here. Everybody wants to see that replaced, but myself personally, I don't want to see it tore down. I think we can repurpose that bridge and use it as part of the Trans-Canada Trail, because what a lot of people may not realize is that this here is the start of the water leg to of the Trans-Canada Trail going north to the Arctic Ocean, and that bridge can be utilized for pedestrians to go across. You could put picnic tables and benches on there, have it repainted, put LED lights on there that are solar powered so that it's lit up at night. Because the one thing when I was involved with the trail group that people always said was they regret not keeping ownership of the old railroad from here south, so that it could be turned into a trail system, and it was abandoned, and the county sold off chunks of it to the local farmers and stuff, and now years after that, people regret not doing anything with it. And it's going to be the same thing with this bridge. Even though it's terrible for going across it with a vehicle, it would be perfect for pedestrians to go across and to tie in the Trans-Canada Trail to the north here. And the other thing too is there'd be a perfect opportunity to use that to bring utilities across the river to the north side, so that the homes on the north side of the river here can be supplied with water. The golf course could be supplied with water, and that. So there's a lot of potential for things. A downtown theme, the bridge, the stage here should be fixed. Talking with Carol Alberts a couple of weeks ago, I was asking her what's happening with the old Home Hardware that burnt down. She said, well, that's in the insurance's hands, and she can't do anything with it. That's the insurance company, but the town should have contacted the insurance company and basically told them, you got a week to clean up, because the way it's going now, it's going to be that way for the winter. We're not going to see that cleaned up, and it's an eyesore. Again, how can you attract people to your community when you have something like that that's left basically abandoned, and it, you know, it's one of the first things that they see. So there's so much that we can do, but is not being done. And the riverfront is probably one of the best things that Athabasca has going for it. You know, my vision would be a family from Edmonton coming here for Saturday morning, like leaving Edmonton Saturday morning, coming here, parking their vehicle, walking the streets, and maybe stopping in at a fudge shop, coming here to the farmers market and picking up some stuff, and having a picnic out on the Athabasca River Bridge, you know, and then going back and, you know, telling their friends and other family members, you know, how great an experience that they had here in Athabasca, because we're only an hour away from 1 million people. There's so much potential, but again, we have to put some sweat equity into all of this, and not just have meetings and talk about it, because it's you know, meetings and talking doesn't get things done. Action gets things done. And so those are things for you to consider when going to vote on October 18th. And I hope you really think about the person that you're going to vote for. I think I would do a great job for this community. Thank you.